Meanwhile, women with high-risk pregnancies are facing a growing number of emergencies as the legal battle for abortion access grows. Several dozen women are currently waiting on decisions in a string of cases about health exceptions in states with severe abortion restrictions. Now our Diane, Sawyer, and Rachel Scott have teamed up for an ABC News special report to tell the stories of women enduring the consequences of the abortion legal battle. Here's a preview.
We're there as they walk into a room in Texas. From Idaho, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, Wisconsin, Arizona, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee. They are strangers who have gathered together because they share a common bond, suffering in the crossfire and confusion of new health care laws. Laws in 21 states in this country, with varying bans and restrictions. These women say they know there are thousands of others out there like them. It takes courage to go on camera.
I'm wondering how many of you almost didn't come. How many of you felt you had to come?
Yeah, for sure.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I don't think people realize how common this is.
Is this a debate over abortion, or is it a debate over health care?
Health care. It's a debate over human rights.
That's what people need to understand, is these were wanted babies.
Let's start with the story of this woman in the front row, Kristen Anaya. Like so many in this room, for months and months, she had been trying to get pregnant. Here's the moment she got the phone call of her dreams.
Hello?
Hi, Kristen. It's Dr. Mansfield. Are you guys together?
We are.
Because we have really good news. Congratulations, you're pregnant.
4 months of complete happiness before the day of complete heartbreak. All of a sudden, Kristen felt something wrong. The membranes protecting her fetus broke and her water, the amniotic fluid, lost. Doctors say this happened so early the fetus cannot be saved. With her fetus dying inside her, Kristen is now at risk. The clock begins ticking on infection and the terror of sepsis, infection that can rage through your bloodstream and cause organ failure. In states where there are no bans, doctors would race to induce labor to protect her health, her fertility, her life.
Within hours, I was showing all signs of sepsis. The doctors needed to start inducing me immediately. However, they were unable to because of Texas abortion laws.
And so the exact words were, we have to prove to the ethics board and the medical board of this hospital that your life is in danger before we can intervene.
She is shaking violently from fever, vomiting nonstop.
Our doctor, our nurses were crying at my bedside, wishing they could do something with blank stares on their faces because they literally couldn't do anything until the blood work showed that I was dying.
Hour by hour, the doctors monitor the increase of the infection in her blood. She knows there's no chance for the baby.
She's literally dying inside of me as I lay on the bed going septic. And in what world does that make any sense to prevent health care for me?
Yeah.
What about my life? We didn't ask for that. We didn't want that.
So you were waiting, what, how many hours?
Almost 24 hours.
Finally, the boards approve her treatment. Her doctors induce labor. The baby passes. But Kristen is so sick from infection, she has to remain in the hospital for the next 5 days, getting IV antibiotics and blood transfusions.
A room full of women with searing stories of trying to get medical care, but state laws have tied their doctors' hands. The stories will break your heart.
Risk for blood clots, infections.
Every single one of my son's organs were growing outside of his body.
Torture. That is torture. That's monstrous.
Torture. Missing the skull.
Women and doctors sounding the alarm that something has to change.
Is 25% chance of death, is that enough? Does she have to have a 75% chance of death? Who gets to decide.
You're not fatal enough, or you're not sick enough. It's like, in what world are we living in right now?
Many of their husbands also felt the urgent need to be here, calling on men across the country to join in protecting pregnant women fighting to live.
Can things change without the support of men?
No. Imagine if this continue to keep going and we don't step up as men, it's going to be a lot of casualties. A lot of women going to die.
And Rachel Scott is joining me now for more on this. Rachel, you've been reporting on this for almost a year now. So what sticks out to you from these stories that you've heard?
You know, when I originally started reporting on the impact of the abortion laws across the country, doctors warned that women would get hurt, that women's lives, that their health could be put in danger. And so when these doctors, when we sat down with them, they peeled back the curtain about how they felt like their hands were tied, or they knew that their own patients were suffering. They knew that their own patients' health, future fertility, possibly their lives were at risk, but they felt like they couldn't just have honest and direct conversations with them. They felt like they couldn't even say the word abortion. One doctor said that they felt like they had to talk in code because of the fines, the penalties up to life in prison that they could face in at least 2 states in this country. And so this really is such an insightful and deep dive into the conversations that are playing out in these states and in clinics across the country.
And I know your reporting and Diane's reporting covers, you spoke to nearly 100 doctors. So how are they talking to their patients about this?
They find it extremely, extremely difficult. And the reality is, a lot of times their patients, some of them travel out of state, they come back with these complications. We talked to one woman who was hemorrhaging in the backseat of a rental car because it took her 1 month to be able to find a state to actually terminate a non-viable pregnancy. And that now has posed a risk to her future fertility. I mean, these stories are searing. They are heartbreaking. And at the end of the day, they're just asking for something to change. These were all wanted pregnancies. There are exceptions in these states that allow to save the life of the mother, but somehow these pregnancy complications are not included in those exceptions, and these women will tell you they feel like they paid the price.
All right. I know that you're going to stay on top of this story. Rachel Scott, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.